Warframe is a free-to-play looter shooter set far in the future, created by Canadian development company Digital Extremes. You play as a Tenno, piloting an artificial biomechanical body called a Warframe, granting you incredible mobility, power, speed, combat skill, and unique powers which can essentially be described as magic. The Tenno were once the heroes and saviors of the Orokin Empire, which controlled the entirety of the Origin system and spread out beyond it. Masters of blade and gun, their martial prowess, physical capabilities, and unique powers were great enough to defeat even the dreaded sentience of the Tau system, who brought the Orokin Empire to its knees with their infinitely adapting technology. With the sentience defeated, the Tenno were honored and revered, right up until the Tenno turned their blades on the Orokin Empire themselves. It's not known exactly why these heroes of justice and peace suddenly turned and attacked the empire they had saved, at least not this early in the game, but the empire was all but powerless to stop them. After they tore down the Orokin Empire, causing the system to fracture into smaller factions, the Tenno just disappeared. Thousands of years later, the game begins as you, one of the Tenno, are awakened from your long sleep by a mysterious motherly figure known as the Lotus, and are tasked with helping to bring peace to the chaotic system. Your character remembers nothing of their past, nothing of the Orokin Empire or how it fell, and discovering your own past, both as a Tenno and before you became one, is a major plot point of the game's story. Warframe was initially released in 2013, and it has gone through a lot of changes and updates since then. The sheer amount of content and customization is staggering. This is kind of a double-edged sword, because once you get into it, having so much game in this game is fantastic, and you will undoubtedly find the aspects most important to you that you want to focus on. However, it can be very overwhelming for new players, since the game doesn't do the best job of introducing you to things and teaching you what to do. It can be difficult to strike that right balance between letting the player be free to play and learn on their own, and giving them enough guidance to understand what they should be doing, and Warframe tends to err on the side of freedom. It's okay though, because between the wiki, the fantastic and helpful community of gamers this game has built, and content creators like yours truly, you'll have all the resources you need. The story for this game is surprisingly good, and the plot and lore are very deep and extensive. This game really does have it all. It looks good and is well optimized for even lower grade PCs, it's a ton of fun to play, and it has an interesting and compelling story with memorable characters and fantastic voice acting. If you're a collector, or someone who loves decorating and customizing things, you'll be right at home here. Just as comfy and content as a player who doesn't care about any of that and just wants to dive in and cause some destruction. Let me just say right now that this game is fun. You basically get to be a space ninja cyborg wizard sharpshooter, practically flying, and sometimes actually flying, through areas, wreaking havoc and collecting resources. Of course, if you want to take a more calm, stealthy approach, you can do that too. The arsenal of weapons and gear you have available to you is extensive to the point of insanity. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, bows, swords, glaives, polearms, kunai, lasers, hammers, even punching weapons. There are frames that let you control fire, ice, magnetism, dimensional tears, nature magic, illusions, healing, and a host of other things. Not to mention more direct, brutish frames that can raise their defenses to ignore damage or stomp so hard that they literally bend space-time around them. I'm not kidding. One of Rhino's abilities is an epic stomp so powerful that nearby enemies are left slowly floating for a few moments, helpless against you as the force of your stomp literally warps space-time around them and slows them down. There are companions too, Kavats and Kubrals that are basically big space cats and wolves, plus mechanical companions that hover over your shoulder, helping you blast enemies away or even scanning for you to help fill out the information in your codex. There are also vehicles such as Archwings, which are like space jetpacks, K-Drives, which are basically jet skateboards, and, well, you get the idea. There is a lot of stuff in this game, and it is an absolute blast to play. But you may already be feeling a bit overwhelmed by how much there is, and I haven't even mentioned how much customization there is yet. So let's take a step back and focus on what you should be doing at the start. When you first wake up, you'll be guided through your first quest, which will span several missions as you try to deal with Grenier Captain Vor. This quest will introduce you to your Orbiter, which is your home base, Star Chart, and your Foundry once you get the upgrade part for it. While exploring your Orbiter, you'll notice that there are some doors you can't open. Don't worry, as you progress through the story and unlock things, you'll find out what these rooms are for. For now, let's focus on the consoles and such you'll be interacting with regularly. First, this is the navigation console. Interacting with this will open your star chart, where you can access all of the missions on all of the worlds that you've unlocked so far. In the top right, you'll also see some icons that refer to specific missions or quests, but don't worry about those too much for right now. On your star chart, there will be a blue diamond flashing that shows you your next uncompleted mission, accompanied by a heartbeat-like thrumming sound. Your first priority should be completing this star chart. As you complete missions and open junctions to more planets, you get access to more quests, more resources, more missions, and special side quests like Void Fishers. Note that Cetus and the Plains of Eidolon on Earth, and Fortuna and the Orb Valis on Venus are two of the game's open world areas, which introduces a whole host of new stuff, such as bounties, spearfishing, and mining. Completing your star chart and quests will require visiting these areas briefly, but to avoid getting overwhelmed, I highly recommend either checking out a guide to open world gameplay, or doing only what you need to do and then moving on, so you can come back and dive into the open world gameplay when you're ready. Moving on, this desk here on the bridge of your orbiter is your codex. Here you can see all of the quests you have discovered and see what you need to do to unlock quests that you found but can't do yet. Completing these quests is your second priority. They will give you more of the story and will also unlock more Warframes for you. Your codex also contains all the lore and information about the system you've discovered, such as details on enemies, NPCs, factions, gear, and so on. It also has some training modules if you want to brush up on things. Tons of info here. The opposite desk is the market, where you can buy things using either credits, which is the currency you earn in-game, or platinum, which is the currency you buy using cash. You'll mostly be buying blueprints from here for new weapons and gear. In fact, when you want new weapons, this is usually the first place you check. When you see a blueprint, you can see what resources you need to build the item. Unlike some free-to-play games, you can enjoy pretty much all of this game without ever spending a dime. This game is not pay to win. You'll generally only spend platinum for cosmetics, or if you're feeling unmotivated to earn something and want to get it quick. In fact, there's only one aspect of this game that is a pain when it comes to spending real money, and that's inventory space. As far as resources and blueprints go, your inventory is unlimited. However, you do have a limit on how many frames you can have and how much equipment you can have. You can increase your inventory with a bit of platinum. That being said, there are also ways around this. For one thing, you start with some platinum, and I strongly recommend using it on inventory space. Secondly, once you unlock the ability to trade with other players, you can sell prime parts and mods to other players for platinum, allowing you to earn it without spending any real money. Third, there are daily login rewards, and sometimes you'll get a coupon for a discount on platinum. After you've played for a while, if you decide you like the game and are willing to spend money on it, wait until you get one of these coupons and buy the platinum then, even if you don't want to use it yet. The coupon will expire, but the platinum won't, so get it while it's on sale, then save it until you need to use it. Lastly, you can also sell equipment you don't want anymore to free up space. Just check to make sure it isn't a component of another piece of gear you want to build soon before you do it. The wiki will be a tremendous help here. Head away from the bridge, and on your right is the foundry. This is where you build your equipment, and it's separated into several categories. You may notice that most things take a long time to build. Weapons take 12 real-world hours. Frame parts each take 24 hours, and when you have all 3 parts of a Warframe plus the main blueprint, it then takes 3 more days to build the frame. You can rush this to make the equipment immediately available by spending platinum, but I don't recommend this. Instead, think of it as yourself continuing to improve and get stuff even when you're not playing. Set the weapon to start building before you log out, go to bed, come back tomorrow, boom, new weapon when you log in. Opposite the foundry is the mod table, where you can see your collections of mods and also upgrade or sell them. Mods are where the real customization comes in for performance as you progress in the game, but don't worry about it too much for now. It'll take a bit of explaining, so we'll come back to it in another video. For now, just remember that this is where you go to see and interact with your mods. Over here is your arsenal, where you equip your frame, weapons, and companions. Additionally, see this upgrade option? This is where you go to put mods into your gear. Again, I'll go into detail about mods in another video. For now, I would recommend pressing the Actions command and letting the game auto-install your mods. This early in the game, you won't have a lot of strong mods anyway, and the game is pretty good in recommending what to use. Eventually, you'll want to do this yourself as you develop your own style and preferences, but for now, just roll with the recommended mods. Also, as you rank up your gear, your mod capacity will increase, so check back periodically to see if you can fit more better mods in. Speaking of ranking up your gear, that brings us to your third priority as a new player, your mastery ring. Your mastery rank is basically your level of experience as a player, and there are several benefits to increasing it, including unlocking access to certain weapons and quests. You increase it by ranking up your gear. How do you rank up your gear? You take it into missions. As you play, you will gain affinity from killing things, from accomplishing mission objectives, from chests and lockers, and from using your Warframe's abilities. This affinity is then divided up among all your equipment that is not maxed at rank 30 that you currently have equipped. So, when you max out a piece of gear, it's time to equip something else and start ranking up that gear. But obviously, you want to keep your best gear for difficult missions. Now, here's the most important thing. You only gain mastery rank for any specific piece of gear once. So, let's say you get your Excalibur Warframe up to level 30. Now let's say you get another Excalibur and decide to rank that one up too. You will not gain any mastery rank for the second one. This goes for frames, weapons, companions, and any other gear you can equip. Fortunately, you don't have to remember which pieces of gear you've mastered, because there are several places that will show you if you have done so, including the market when looking at blueprints, and your arsenal screen when looking over gear you don't currently possess in your inventory. Look for this laurel symbol. If you see it, then you've already ranked up that gear to level 30 once, so you won't gain mastery rank for doing it again. This is skipping ahead a bit, but note that Prime gear is considered a different piece of gear for the purposes of mastery rank. So if you rank up Frost to 30, then rank up Frost Prime to 30, you will gain mastery rank for both. So that's everything you need to get started, though as you can probably tell, we've barely scratched the surface. Play the game at your own pace. Don't try to rush to learn and do everything at once, or else you may burn yourself out. To summarize again, there are 3 things you should prioritize as a new player. 1. Fill out your star chart by completing missions and opening junctions. 2. Complete quests from your codex to advance the story and side plots. 3. Raise your mastery rank by ranking up your gear. Try to bring at least one piece of gear into each mission that is not maxed out. Warframe isn't perfect. The lack of guidance in some aspects does hurt, and you will encounter some bugs here and there, though it's very rare that they're game-breaking. Usually they're just a nuisance. Although Warframe is available to play on pretty much any platform, it does not have crossplay or cross-save, at least not at the time of this video. However, Digital Extremes has announced that crossplay and cross-save are currently in development. Yes, you will be doing some farming, or grinding depending on your terminology, to unlock things and rank up. But since the game is so friggin' fun to play, it'll hardly feel like you're farming. You'll just be jumping around shooting things, or whirling your bladed staff through swarms of enemy creatures like a bloodthirsty Beyblade. There are bad apples in any community, but overall, the Warframe community is one of the best I've ever been a part of. Since there's always more gear to rank up, advanced players are often perfectly happy to do lower level missions with newer players. Additionally, you may need a resource from a planet you can't access yet. However, if you're in a party with another player who can go to that world, they can actually bring you into missions there, with a few exceptions. So there's more incentive to make some new friends. If you do Discord, I strongly recommend joining the Warframe official Discord to group up with people and meet other Tenno. The Forever Rolling Discord that I administrate also has several friendly folks who love the game and are happy to help if you prefer to join a smaller community first. I'll put links to both in the description. Whenever you're unsure of something, like how a specific mechanic works or where to find a resource, go to the wiki. It's a fantastic resource, kept well up to date, and you're almost certain to find what you need there. If you want to see other guides or ideas for builds you can work toward, I would recommend content creators Faceless Beanie and Ashisogi Tenno. If you want to know more about the lore, I would suggest My Name is Biff, who does fantastic lore videos not only for Warframe, but for other similar games too, such as Destiny. Just be careful of spoilers. Warframe has a great story, and I'd hate to see you ruin it for yourself. In my next Warframe video, I'll go over some of the next things you're going to want to know about as an up-and-coming player. A deep dive on upgrading and using mods, prime parts, void relics, and syndicates. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the relay, Tenno.